What I'd like to do is begin. I think Julia is going to help with the introduction of Lori, but I would like to just share a personal story. I grew up with my father's sister, my aunt. She lived with us all her life, and her mental abilities were just not, what all of us enjoy on a day-to-day basis. And so it was certainly a challenge for our family, certainly, something a little different than what most of my friends experienced in their household. And as Betsy got older, it was clear that she needed more help than what our family could provide. And in South Carolina, in the Midlands, we are blessed with an organization called the Babcock Center. And so Betsy started residential living there and blossomed. And part of that blossoming included Special Olympics. And the Special Olympics piece for her, she loved. And I still have many of her possessions. And in those possessions are her Special Olympic medals that we framed and had hung up for her. And so knowing that we're going to spend some time talking about Special Olympics today, Lori, thank you so much for what you're going to share. And I know that Julia knows you best, so I would like to turn it over to Julia for a formal introduction, but I just want to say thank you from the get-go.
Thank you, very sweet.
All right, well, I, like I said, knew Lori when I lived in California, and she's very active in our community. She's a 40-year resident of Woodland, and she graduated from Sacramento State with a BA in Liberal Studies in '99, which was the year I graduated vet school. And she worked at the YMCA for 15 years as program director, overseeing multiple youth camps and after-school programs. And then she served as executive director of Woodland United Way, and later as Yolo County Community Engagement Director for United Way California Capital Region, which is our kind of surrounding area. And so we did several Rotary projects that partnered with United Way when Lori was working with them, that brought our 3 Rotary clubs in Woodland together to do projects, which was fun. Her volunteer experience includes 11 years as a court-appointed special advocate, CASA, for foster youth, for which she was featured as a Heart of Yolo by Yolo County CASA. For all of her work in the community, Senator Bill Dodd chose Lori as the recipient of a Yolo County 2016 Community Champion Award, which is well-deserved for the work she does. She's been a Special Olympics coach for the past 10 years, and this is currently her 7th year as an active member in the Rotary Club of Woodland. And she serves as the chair of the programs committee. So I may have to tap into some other ideas for programs. Her and her husband Art have 2 sons and 3 dogs who they consider family. And I will let Lori introduce her friends today. And Lori, you can share your screen, and it's all yours.
Great. Thank you, Julia. Can't believe you're so far away. I know our community really misses her as well. So I just was going to share with you that I have in-laws in Belews Creek, North Carolina. So I've been there a few times, and we went to Myrtle Beach, and I just need to go back. And we were actually looking at the houses, because I'm sure you've heard about the housing prices over here in California. I literally could afford a beautiful house on the ocean in Myrtle Beach. Here, it's crazy. It's crazy. So, and we've talked about it. But anyway, it's a special place for me because we found family we didn't know we had about 10 years ago. Yeah, pretty cool. All right. So yes, I'd like to share my screen. Excuse me. Let me just say right now, this is Tara Lytle. And I'm going to talk, I'm going to actually do an exclusive interview with her towards the end. So you're going to get to know her a lot better. Okay. So I'm not leaving you out yet. All right. But I would like to start. Tara, this is what we do in the let's see, here we go. Is the Special Olympics athlete oath. Okay, so I'm gonna let Tara lead it, and if you would join, that would be great. Go ahead and say it. Want to read it?
Oh, let me win, but
hold on, we're gonna copy you. Okay, so try again.
Oh,
that's all right.
Let me win.
Let me win.
Let me.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead, group.
Yeah.
Let me win.
But if,
We should have practiced. Okay, so here,
Let's do it again.
we're gonna say it and then you're gonna say it. Here we go.
Let me win,
but if I
Let
cannot,
me win.
let me be brave in the attempt.
Oh,
Right.
Wow.
All right, now we're gonna say it together with you guys and us. Here we go. Let me
Let me
win,
win.
but if I
If I
cannot,
cannot,
let me be
let
brave in
me
the
be brave.
attempt. All right, well, that's how we're gonna start today. That's okay. All right, but that, I actually said it without getting tears in my eyes because look at, now I can't even talk about it. Let's move on, okay?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you a story about a parent of this little guy, okay? This to share the impact of the programs at Special Olympics. Just shy of her 20th birthday, a young mother gave birth to a baby boy who was not breathing. He was immediately put on life support, and 10 days later had the first of 3 major surgeries. I got braces a couple months ago and I can't talk. The first 2 years were in and out of the pediatric intensive care unit, procedures, therapies, and prayers. Eventually, his physical health improved, but other issues were arising, including intellectual deficiencies. But none of these setbacks held this little guy back. Even while tied to an oxygen tank, he was raring to go, as you can see. His fighting spirit and huge grin were contagious. He was obsessed with sports. He loved Michael Jordan and Benny the Jet Rodriguez. When he was about 6 years old, his mom enrolled him in Pee Wee sports at the YMCA. During baseball season, he refused to wear his YMCA t-shirt. Instead, he had a blue LA Dodgers hat, a white t-shirt, and his Dodgers jersey opened up so it would fly along his sides when he ran from base to base because he was Benny the Jet. As he got older, he was kept back a year or two as his peers were developing much faster than he was. By the time he was 10 years old, he started to realize this and said he no longer wanted to play with the babies. He never played youth sports again. It wasn't until about 10 years later when mom heard that there was Special Olympics program in their town. A local volunteer had started an adult softball team, so at 20 years old, he was able to get back on the field. After the first couple of practices, his softball coach recognized his skills and started him as a pitcher and lead batter. He was voted team captain and was also coached on how to be a good role model to others whose skills were not as strong. His mom said that he'd never been considered a leader before. He'd never been that superstar athlete with the confidence to rule the school. But on the Special Olympics field, he was the man. There was at least a dozen friends and family members at all his games. Special Olympics was a family affair, and mom even became a coach. As she blossomed, just like he did, she began to advocate for individuals with disabilities, mentor other parents, and connect them to community resources. If you haven't guessed, that would be me and my son, Derek, my superstar. He actually has a job at UC Davis in the dish room and could not make it. Thus, I got to bring in my friend Tara. But yeah, so Derek is my personal hero. So Julia and I have talked, and I kind of focused this on my experience with Special Olympics, and I started to put some slides to tell you about Special Olympics, but I thought, you know what, let's do a video. So this is a short video just in general about Special Olympics that I pulled off the internet. Oh, good. Here we go.
Changing the world is a contact sport. And when it comes to changing the world, there are no better athletes than the athletes of Special Olympics. Every day around the world, Special Olympics athletes come to the playing field to learn, to grow, to compete, and to win. The Special Olympics athlete oath embodies the spirit. Let me win. But if I cannot win, let me be brave in the attempt.
Oh, can you guys hear it? Oh, you can, good. Okay, it says something on my screen, excuse me.
Special Olympics, we envision a world where everyone belongs, where bravery triumphs, ability emerges, skills grow, laughter invites. The human spirit is unleashed and the world is changed. One volunteer, one fan, one doctor, one teacher, one athlete at a time. Founded by Eunice Kennedy Shriver in 1968, Special Olympics is led by millions of athletes with intellectual disabilities in more than 170 countries, each embodying the beauty of difference. And Special Olympics athletes compete in over 80,000 competitions a year and World, Winter, or Summer Games every 2 years. Special Olympics is an everyday opportunity to make a difference in the world, bringing together people of all abilities to create a world of respect and inclusion. We're a global network of families who share inspiration, hope, and understanding. We're coaches, volunteers, and community builders, reaching out to children and adults who might otherwise be forgotten in some of the most remote parts of the world. And though sports is our engine, Special Olympics is so much more. We're changing the world in many different ways and in many different arenas. We're Special Olympics Healthy Athletes, the world's largest public health organization for people with intellectual disabilities. We're Special Olympics Healthy Communities, changing how governments, businesses, and policymakers address the unmet health needs of adults and children with intellectual disabilities. We're Special Olympics Unified Sports, helping to build relationships and understanding between people with and without intellectual disabilities. We're Special Olympics Young Athletes, unlocking the power of sports for the youngest children, ages 2 to 7, and their families. We're athlete leaders, trained and empowered, demanding respect and leading by example all around the world. Through the power and joy of sports, Special Olympics is revealing the champions in all of us. Come play with us. Together, we will change the world through sport. Changing the world is a complex sport.
Wait, hold on, how do I change it?
When it comes to changing.
All right,
the
let
world,
me
there are no
stop.
better
Hold on,
athletes
if I do
than-
this. How do I change it to the next one? Okay, so now I think, there we go. There we go. All right. So that was general about Special Olympics. These are our kiddos. They are not kids for the most part. They are adult athletes, but of course you can imagine we call them our kids. We have here some of the coaches, a couple of them are parents, but we also have community leaders that have stepped up and wanted to participate in this. So you might recognize this one right here. Tara's right here. And then this is my son, Derek, right here. So for Special Olympics, I don't know if they mentioned this. So to be eligible to compete in Special Olympics, you have to be at least 8 years old, though they have the other programs for the little guys. And this is completely at no cost to the participants. So they Special Olympics, takes donations. They are a nonprofit. I know they also have some funding from federal and government. They do get for some of the programs that they run. And basically to be in Special Olympics, you have like a doctor's note or a professional that says that you have an intellectual disability or cognitive delay. And I don't know if you guys know, that was new to me when I learned. I actually thought it was for all kinds of different disabilities, but it's specifically for those with intellectual disabilities. And this is kind of, I did not know completely. There are, I think she said it, 32 different sports. Here in my area, we have 12, but I mean, I think you saw gymnastics on there, figure skating, horseback riding, a lot, and then even more, snowboarding. What did you say you wanted to do? Oh, she wanted judo.
Oh,
Yeah, the one you wanted to do.
And
So,
horseback riding, too.
You went to horseback riding. We'll have
Yeah.
to work on that one, getting that into our community. I just want to see where I'm at here. So you might think it's all fun and games, but I'll tell you, sometimes it gets pretty rowdy there. I mean, yes, it's fun and games, but we have athletes and they're really out there working hard. And they when they get chosen to move on from a local competition to a region-wide and statewide competition, it is on their physical abilities, but it's also on their character and leadership within the group when they're chosen to go. Once again, you see Tara there. Is track your favorite? Not so much.
Yeah,
Is
it is. I like track too, but I like softball, but I wish softball can be in the springtime more concentrations. It's like, oh my God, it's hot.
It does get hot. Last year they played, it was a good 105. I mean, it was really crazy. And they play in August, no, in late July, August.
I think it was July,
Anyway, it's
yes.
kind of crazy, and
Yeah.
they're thinking about changing it. So,
Yeah.
okay. And so, I mean, this, like, you can't even look at this, and I don't know. This is what it's about. It's about the smiles. I don't know. I go out in the community, and I'm not saying I fake it, but I can
Yeah.
smile and put it on. And a lot of times, these guys, I mean, when you see the joy, it's joy. It's not just a smile. You see the entire joy, the entire body, and so. It is special to go out and see how proud they are, because I can tell you that from working with this population, the perseverance is insane. They, if you want to say, lose a lot, they fail a lot over and over again, and they've been doing it all their lives. And so the perseverance you see, I mean, we can't even understand, I don't think, many of us. And so like I was sharing with my son, to come out here and for him to just be a leader out there is it's a big deal. So I pulled this up because they do have the local competitions. Like we have a Sacramento area one, and then we have a Northern California one. And where, they bring more folks together. But then they have a World Games. And so I pulled up this one that was in North Carolina in 1999. But they're worldwide. I had written down what I had in my note. Oh, that they had like in 2015, it was in Los Angeles. In 2017, it was in Austria. 2019 in Dubai. And then they are doing it in Berlin in June this year. And I know we have about in Northern California, I think we have about a dozen athletes, as well as they have a chaperone, like their parent and their coach get to go. And Special Olympics pays for everything. Like I said, not a penny does the athlete or their family pay. If absolutely, the volunteers are crucial. They are not only the coaches, but trainers that really know about the sport, that can come in and train the coaches in the sports, the officials, the event organizers, the fundraisers, and the team managers. And I am, that was my best role, as being the team manager, where, I really worked on the registration, getting everybody together, like the team mom, we all need those. And so that's been kind of my role. I'm able to sit in the shade. But the coach, and as they shared, the volunteers, like on the top right, they have the Healthy Athletes program, where at the tournaments, they have volunteer healthcare providers that come out there and do screenings. And they don't just do screenings physical, they do mental health, they do foot screenings, ears, they do all that. And so, I mean, really, I think, especially when you're building the relationships with those kids, you're making a difference. Oh, there's our team on the left. That was our first team.
Yeah.
So this is kind of cool. This is my favorite thing. You probably have heard of the torch run. Like in the regular Olympics, there's a torch and it's lit. Well, about 1968, law enforcement over on your side of the country, one of the captains wanted to get his officers more involved. As you can imagine, there's many reasons to do that, the camaraderie, but also, getting involved in the community and building relationships and doing something good. And so he started the torch run. And what that is the law enforcement officers, they do the ones, what's it called? The sworn ones and the non-sworn, basically raise funds for Special Olympics. And then they are the ones that carry the torch and light the cauldron. So here in Northern California, it's 10 days at the beginning of June, and it starts at our Sacramento Capitol. And then the torch is passed through all the counties in Northern California. So there's different routes, but it goes all the way up to the border of Oregon, and it comes back down, and then they meet in Santa Clara, which is close to the Bay Area, where they light the cauldron. But it's pretty cool because it just gets it gets passed from county to county. And then the athletes can run too. But the law enforcement always has that torch, and they're very, very protective of it. It's the flame of hope. And I mean, they mean business, and they raised, since they started, $6 million for Special Olympics. They're the biggest funder of Special Olympics as an organization. So I think that's pretty special. I want to tell you a little story. You heard a little bit about the leadership program, which I just really, really love. And my son, his skills, his physical skills, and mental capacity, pretty strong at Special Olympics. And, he kind of gets a big head, and, he's pretty, good. And so he would get frustrated. So here, Nikki on the left, sweet as can be, one time, she hadn't hit the ball season. And I think the tee came on, and even with the tee, sometimes she missed it, but she got a hit. And everyone was going crazy. And then she ran to third base. And my son got so mad. He was so angry, and he's like, what did she do that? Like, we're going to lose. And I explained to him that she didn't mean to. And he was like, oh, like he didn't understand.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that's not uncommon for individuals with disabilities to not be as tolerant as other individuals with disabilities, because they just don't really understand. And then this next picture on the right, my son here, and then you have Mia. So Mia is this real little cute girl, and she's kind of slow. She kind of limps, and one of her arms isn't as functional. But I had to teach my son the specific skill, first of all, not to run her over, but to allow her to play. And it's really cool because in the tournaments, Mia's, she's in the game, right? And so the ball's going back and forth across the court, and she's kind of limping along behind. And by the time she almost gets to one side, they're going back, but she is in it. And one of my proud moments is my son will stop and pass it to her, and she passes it right back to him. And then he goes. And because he got so much attention for that, like that was so great. He does it like several times throughout the game specifically, and to a couple others too, and so he's really learning look at those skills. So once again, a proud moment for me. But the leadership, I've brought my son and a couple others out to Rotary, to Kiwanis, and there's actually a conference that we're looking forward to in Sacramento, a 2-day conference that Special Olympics pays for, to bring athletes over there and their chaperone to a hotel, and they do leadership, how to present yourself. They have some local athletes come out and work with them. And then they actually make their little at the end of, I think on the next day, videos of themselves. They get recorded and telling their Special Olympics stories. So really cool. And so with that, this is one of our leaders, obviously one of our decorated superheroes. And I'm going to stop sharing. I just do want you to notice this business right here. You see her knees? Remember, I'm gonna turn off your phone. Remember I told you it's no joke. They're working hard, and look at that face. I mean, this is Tara. Tara's special. She has a smile all the time. And that's probably number one, which really makes her a winner. So if you would, please help me welcome Miss Tara Lytle. So what we're actually going to do is I'm going to interview her. So to start, please tell us a little bit about yourself. Some of the stuff that you were telling me. Some of your characteristics.
Oh, I am I'm cheerful, and I'm kind, and
Work hard.
I work hard,
You do care for the people.
care for other people,
Persevere.
and persevere.
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 There you go. There you go. Nice. Okay. Tell us a little bit about like your living situation, what you do.
I live on my own, and I have a advocate to help me, and I have my parents. And if my parents can do it, I have my sister nearby. She lives in Matomas, and my brother would love to help, but he lives out of state. He lives in Louisiana, so it's kind of hard for him to come and help, and I understand.
Yes, but it's good to have a circle of support.
Support, yeah.
We all need that, right?
Yes, yes.
And so tell me, and this is kind of a hard question, her and I discussed it, but tell me about your hopes and dreams for the future.
My hopes and dreams, to get married, to hopefully one day open up a business, one day hopefully get a house somewhere, and hopefully to go out of state and to go to Italy or whatever,
See the
travel.
world.
Yeah.
What about you're talking about culinary school?
Culinary school, or a nurse assistant.
Even and
Yes, it's probably going to be challenging. Blah, 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 blah.
well, that was kind of my next question. What are some of the challenges or barriers? Because first of all, the first thing you need to know is you got to see it to be it.
Yes.
And you got that.
Yes.
You got your vision. Okay.
Yes.
When we remember mine, my vision is to have a place in Myrtle
Hawaii.
Beach and Hawaii and Lake Tahoe. So I got a
Yes.
vision. Who
Yes.
knows if I'm going to get up there, but we're going somewhere. Oh, I also told her that at 60, when I retire, I want to look like Jennifer Aniston.
Yes.
So we're talking about hopes and dreams. You think you start real big, right? And then you do baby steps.
And then the doctors always told my parents, sorry, I was going,
Please.
that I will never live a normal life. But back then they didn't know any better. I was born in 77, so it came a long way. And
Yeah.
I proved the doctors
You
wrong.
did. You did. Tell me.
And they used to put people in a
Like a facility,
yeah, and
not asylum.
yeah,
really.
they did. And it was sad because I watched something on YouTube. I was getting so mad. I wanted just to go in there. So I had to shut it off. Okay, I can't deal with this for a while.
Well, and you know what you're doing right now? You're advocating for people with intellectual disability. I mean, you're advocating to these people.
Yeah.
So they know the importance and they know your abilities and don't focus on your disabilities.
Yeah.
But when you have your dreams or when you want to, the things you have, or even day to day, what kind of barriers do you run into or challenges?
When I was in school, I used to get bully, and people used to call me stupid or you're retard. And one girl was like, "Oh, stop kicking me. You're stupid." And I turned around and I said a B word, sorry, but
Thank you for not saying it now.
and I sticked up for myself, and I'm like, you know what? Forget it. Yeah.
Yeah, good. And other things that you have the support that helps you.
Yes.
And how about your health?
It's ongoing challenging. I'm a type 1 diabetes, and I'm on the insulin pump. And some days are, it's challenging. And I figure, what did I eat that day? And why is my blood sugar over 300? And I realized that I try to calculate the carbs, and I think I was wrong. So I had the cheese burrito with the steak and stuff. And I figure, oh, that was it. That's why it was 300 and something.
So you've learned in the ways you've overcome, you were sharing, was having someone that's there to support you.
Yes.
And teach you how to do things and be there when you when you call. And you've learned how to live on your own.
Yes.
Do you cook or?
Yeah, I cook and I clean. And when I was little, I used to bruise really easy. So they put me on prednisone for a while, and then I went to the doctor's office, and they gave me they were testing if I had leukemia. Oh, that hurt so bad, that needle. Yeah. And my mom stayed out in the waiting room. I completely understand. My brother and my dad went in there to hold me down, not to pet you, because if you move, it could probably tweak or you can get I don't know. Yeah.
You know what? These challenges you've gone through, I think, you have support, but I think your attitude is the most thing that has gotten you this far where you are right now.
Yeah. And the doctors explained to my parents, maybe that's why she became a diabetic, was the prednisone attacked my pancreas. So they don't know.
Okay. So of course, because we're talking about Special Olympics, your very favorite sport.
I like softball.
Okay. And what position do you play?
I play outfield.
Okay.
Where third base is at? I think it was
left field. Yeah.
Left field. Yeah.
Yep. And she hustles. She's one of those, some of them, as you've seen in softball, and they go out there and then they come back. Tara's all of us hustling. And like I said, from that picture, that was practice. And those knees were, and so I was, tell me about, like the best moment in Special Olympics that you've had.
Oh, I think it was the first year or the second year, whatever I started. There was a fly ball, and I caught it, and they were out. Yeah, I think that's how we won the game. I think.
Yeah, everyone was going crazy. I remember because you practiced so hard at practicing.
Yeah, right.
I remember that was good stuff. And then just to kind of finish up, I just think the summer games are so cool. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Tell us a little bit about your experience at summer games.
You have to be a good sport. Yes, it's very hot some years. And then I like it because other teams, when we're done, they're like, good game and stuff, and we're all good game too, and they're like, you guys did a good job, and I'm like, you did too.
Yeah, nice, good sportsmanship.
Yes.
And beside what did you compete in when you were at summer games?
Softball.
Oh, you did softball. Did you do track and field?
Yeah, that track and field was springtime.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what other things did you do besides sports at the summer games?
That was-
You guys didn't do activities like get-togethers,
No,
a dance or
and
thing, or? I don't know if
no.
that- I know that.
And then wintertime, I do bowling.
All the different ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know that at some summer games, like they've had like dances and they do skits, and it's not just, it's about the camaraderie and getting
Yeah.
together, important, getting away from your family, traveling. That's one of the things. I was wondering if anybody had any questions for Tara or myself.
So Tara, how do you practice throughout the year? So the big games, I'm guessing, are in the summertime. So how do you keep in shape, and you keep your softball skills growing throughout the year?
Well, the summer games and the softball's in summer, but she plays throughout the year, the
Yes,
different
we
sports
pack yeah,
Okay.
to keep busy.
yeah.
One of the things that we're starting here in Woodland is some of our law enforcement, they're doing a walking club. And so basically you can get any volunteers, but I know our chief was real interested in doing, I was working on where one of his officers just show up at one of the, they meet and they just walk, they do stretches, they walk and just get to know the athletes and stuff. So many ways to get involved. And
It makes me kind of like nervous, like when cops come, because sometimes I hear like stories about they're not patient with disability.
well, and I think that's maybe part of the reason they want to get to
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Cool. Right. So that's what we got, a little bit to share about our stories. We love to have the chance to get a brag about my athletes and share my story. As you can see, with sometimes my voice gets a little shaky.
Well, Lori, thanks for sharing. And Tara, and I just wanted to ask them, how often, so when you say they get together and practice, do they get together certain days of the month? Do they have like a regular time where the groups in the local towns get together?
So the coach really takes the lead on that. Okay, so like the Special Olympics staff, they organize the programs and when the dates are going to be. And then the volunteer coaches reach out to the athletes and they schedule, every Tuesday. Usually they practice once a week and they get together probably 10 weeks before the tournament type thing. And so, so right now is track and field. And then in June, they'll start practicing for softball, and then in fall, basketball, or bowling. Bowling is later, and then basketball starts in January.
Yeah.
And there's other sports, bocce ball we have here. We have swimming in Yolo County. And so just there's kind of something going on all year, and the athletes choose which ones they want to go to.
And then the different coaches just organize the groups that are doing that sport.
And it's all volunteers. One cool thing about volunteering, so in Northern California, they actually have area directors that in counties that run the Special Olympics programs that are volunteers. And so Special Olympics staff actually holds back, and Special Olympics organization supports them, but they like do their own fundraising. They coordinate everything. So, I mean, really one of the things that I was so impressed about with Special Olympics was true volunteer, like not just showing up like Rotarians, we're volunteering and we're in it. It's not just like people come and do a one-time thing. They have Special Olympics like Rotary volunteers. They're extremely dedicated.
Long-term commitment.
And they really do take the lead.
Yeah.
And the staff really work on, okay, we'll give you that structure. This is yours. So
That's awesome. Thank you.
Any other questions for Tara or Lori?
I don't have a question. I just want to acknowledge you for your presentation, and as a Southern California resident many years ago, it's always nice to be able to talk to somebody from California. So I remember when the Special Olympics started in '63, and it was a big deal. And I'll have to admit, I lost track of what has happened to it. And I had to look it up on the internet. And I was blown away because I was wondering how many people are involved in Special Olympics. It said 5 million. And I was interested in the ratio of volunteers and participants. It's 4 to 1, meaning there's a volunteer trainer, someone helping them as a 4 to 1 ratio. That's amazing. So thank you for giving me a good memory of what has happened to Special Olympics. And as a former high jumper, I really appreciate everything that you do in athletic training, because I've lost a lot of meets before, and I know what losing is like. So it's a nice struggle, but when you win, it does make you come back for more.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. John?
Just a quick comment, sort of ties with what Ken, I Googled while I was sitting here and found South Carolina Special Olympics, but what struck me in particular, and I bet it's the standard, South Carolina Special Olympics is 4-star charity navigator and the 90% rating. So as Rotary, we look at the Rotary Foundation, very proud of its record at 4-star. And I'm expecting, Lori, that the standard that is set across the country is probably very consistent with that.
How can you hate Special Olympics, right? I mean, we're divisive on everything, but seriously, can you find something to, for the most part, I know the law enforcement portion of it, when they do the torch run, there's been a little bit of, and I'm like, really? Really?
Special Olympics.
They're supporting, but I guess that really is the biggest, yeah, how can you not?
This has been a most inspiring program. Tara, loved your interview. You remind